And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another week, another edition here of the PondCast episode 63, your weekly dose of all things StarCraft. I'm, of course, OSC VIP. With me, I'm joined by, of course, the people in chats, by my plushies somewhere in the room, but also by Kuro. Kuro, of course, handling the production. We just wrapped up with the RSL, with the Revival StarCraft with the Rival StarCraft Season 2 event with the co-stream, and now we are back. We're live with some more StarCraft with the PondCast. Something a little bit different. For those that may be tuning in for the first time, this is a weekly podcast, a weekly talk show where we go through all things StarCraft. We've been running this for many, many years at this point with all of the updates on the news. There's a lot to get into here. A lot of announcements this week, actually, especially for those of you in the Americas. Right now is actually a bad time slot for the Americas. I know a lot of the people in the Americas and Latin America are asleep at the moment, but if you happen to be a full DGen, if you happen to be awake, then we got you covered.
So can I just say that, as is tradition, everybody waited exactly until the podcast is over and then they started announcing things, literally on the same day. Just say.
True. So we do have our first setup here. So first things first, we spoke about it, some NA announcements. We have the SC Historian announcing the SC4ALL event happening in Philadelphia. Now, it looks like the SC Historian is going to be partnering with Nerd Street and with the local host GG. For those who are unaware, these are the organizers and the sponsors of Cheeseadelphia. And I was notified, I'm okay with saying this, from my understanding, Cheeseadelphia, they were looking to run another event at the end of the year, and they were looking for sponsors, so it looks like they have officially partnered with the SC Historian. So really cool to see that partnership occur, and as a result, they're able to bring together a bigger and better event. So if you're looking for another Cheeseadelphia, this should be it, basically. Rebranded, not Cheeseadelphia, but SC4ALL instead, with the SC Historian being a big part of this tournament, or a big part of this event. So if you happen to be in the area or even traveling to the Americas at the time, I do recommend it. This is going to be at the beginning of November, the 1st and 2nd of November, 2-day event. Oh my God, 2 days of StarCraft action. I appreciate it. That was one of the big criticisms of Cheeseadelphia, is that it was a 1-day event and a very intense event at that. So really cool to see that they have been able to spread this out to multiple days. And of course, they already have their venue, they already have their organizers, they already have kind of like the skeleton of Cheeseadelphia to work with, just kind of like a fresh coat of paint on top of it. So we all know that this event should be running smoothly, and we already have an established location where viewers, where audience members, and where players have been going to. So again, if you may be unaware, if you happen to be local, if you happen to be in the Americas, when I say the Americas, if you may be traveling from Canada, for example, or willing to take the trip from Latin America as well, I do recommend it as a really nice way to come together. This is kind of like the big NA tournament, and should be the big NA tournament of the year, considering that we don't really know if there's going to be like another DreamHack Dallas, for example, or another event like that. I think it's really important that the organizers here do focus on growing this local tournament to kind of like be the NA version of, say, Home Story Cup. Like, Cheeseadelphia has been really regular. I will say my big criticism of Cheeseadelphia is their inability to work with local talent and local content creator to grow the event even further. What I mean by that, they were able to bring together Dave Testa, Tempo, the SC Historian. That is true, but there's so much talent in the Americas that I feel like they can work with to get more eyes on this tournament. I wouldn't be surprised if there are people listening right now that have no idea what Cheeseadelphia is. That maybe they've heard about it, maybe they haven't watched it though, and they don't really know much about it. So partnering and working with talent like Zombie Grub, for example. Zombie Grub comes to mind. Fear Dragon, of course. Fear Dragon used to work with Cheeseadelphia and used to cast it regularly with Tempo. Maybe reaching out to those in Canada, like your Upper Tree, like your Steadfast, and just in general, Chicken Man, of course. True Chicken Man. There's a lot of like content creators and casters in the North American region that I'm sure would be willing to work with and help spread the word and partner in some way with an event like this. I think it's really important to do so to help get eyes on this, just because I feel like a lot of people don't know and are unaware of this event. We've been casting this event for a couple of years at this point, and we do well with it, of course, but it would be nice if, the more of the but we're in Australia, like we're not native to the Americas region, yet we're the ones covering the event, and of course we were happy to do so. But it would be nice if some of the Americans could actually, help out and do their part and help the events grow and help be a part of it as well. So I hope that they're able to do that. I hope they're able to pull that off. Fingers crossed on that one, just because I feel like there's a lot of untapped potential and a lot of cooperation that could be happening right now with a lot of those content creators and with a lot of that talent. So fingers crossed. Regardless, again, this is going to be at the beginning of November, and I'm sure it's going to be an amazing event. We, of course, will most likely be a part of covering this event in English. Most likely here on the CranKy Ducklings.
I would also like to point out that this specific event also has a bit of a twist, because there are 3 different StarCrafts being played. StarCraft II, StarCraft Brood War, and StarCraft 64 also has a tournament.
Yes, exactly. This is not just SC2, that's why it's SC4ALL, because it has all 3 forms of StarCraft. Oh boy, so they're going to be having some fun there, and I do think this is going to benefit Cheesedelphia, or benefit this event as well, because they're able to access and kind of tap into not just the SC2 community, but the Brood War community as well, which can be very intense and very hardcore. So really cool to see them kind of bring that all together here into one big tournament, or one big event. So best of luck. Best of luck. There's going to be a sign up link is already available, of course. A massive prize pool, and more details I'm sure to be announced as we get closer to the event itself. As day 1 is going to be the group stage, and day 2 is going to be the playoff bracket. Now, speaking of LAN events in the Americas, we have another. This one is going to be the previous one, of course, was going to be in Philadelphia, in America, in the United States. Meanwhile, up next we do have a LAN happening in Canada, Alberta, Canada, here on the 29th of November. So the SC4ALL event is going to be happening on the 1st and 2nd of November at the beginning of the month. This event is going to be at the end of the month in Canada. Now, this is a little bit different. Apparently, these the people working behind this, they have not been able to actually, or they have not run a StarCraft event in many years. And this is not a 1v1 tournament. This is going to be a 2v2 Archon mode tournament instead, which is a little bit more laid back, a little bit more fun. I will say that this is going to hinder potentially signups and hinder interest, just because in general Archon mode is not really too popular. 2v2 has been rising in popularity, true, that is true, but I do feel like they have to do a lot of work when it comes to advertising. Just like how I just spoke about working with local talent and local content creators and local streamers to help spread the word and actually boost your event and bring eyes to it, I feel like it's going to be even more important for these guys as well. So in Canada, again, there's people like Upper Tree, there's Juggernaut Jason, there's Sal as well. Like, there are people that you can try to reach out to and try to have be a part of your event. So I'm hoping they're able to have socialize in some way, reach out and be able to spread the word of this event, because it's really cool to see. Really cool to see a tournament that's focusing on Archon mode and 2v2, but again, it's a very niche, very niche kind of format in StarCraft, and likewise, because this event hasn't been run in many years, you're gonna need to spread the word. You're gonna need to spread the word to make sure that people know that this event is happening over in Canada. So again, if you happen to be local, if you happen to be in Canada or in the Americas and willing to travel, then consider going to this event at the end of November. Oh boy. Meanwhile, up next, we do have the qualifiers for another American event. America's event. This is for Canada. We did announce the Stellarfest event previously, a couple weeks ago at this point. We had some recent news about it as well, and the qualifiers have been confirmed. So we have the Asia qualifier, America's qualifier, Europe qualifier, and Open Global qualifier as well. This is also a multi-day, multi-stage event for Stellarfest, with the online qualifiers, with the offline portion, with what looks to be a separate venue and a separate event as well, kind of leading into it. We did already discuss this last week, so if you want some more details, then last week we did go over this in greater detail, but now we actually have the qualifiers announced and signups are available. Quickly kind of summarize it, there's another offline event happening also in Canada. This is going to be towards the first week of November. So November is actually going to be really jam-packed with NA StarCraft. We have the SC4ALL at the very beginning, 1st and 2nd of November. Fun fact, this LAN event happening in Canada is on the 4th and 6th of November. So It's really close. It's really close together. I would hope that people are willing to travel from one to the other, but I also know that budgets are a thing, and you might have to choose. To be honest, you might have to pick and choose. Do you go to Stellarfest, which is happening on the 4th of November, or do you go to the SC4ALL, which is happening on the 1st of November, merely a couple of days apart? So it's a bit of a shame that these NA tournaments are happening almost right on top of each other. It's not going to be very friendly to those that want to travel, for those that are working on a budget and maybe can't afford to travel that much consecutively, that close together. So that is a bit of a shame. But regardless, I hope that they're able to succeed and excel nonetheless, and people are able to be a part of it and able to travel and be a part of at least one of these events in the Americas. But again, this is going to be a longer event starting on the 4th of November and ending on the 9th of November, as it's two different tournaments, kind of one straight into the other. But that's going to be with Stellarfest, and again, signups are open. Oh boy. That leads us into... Oh. Interesting. Wait, what?
What?
Do you know any details about this? Referring to leading four selection,
Yes.
It says here that leading four selection allows players to win travel. Does that mean that if you qualify through the qualifiers, it doesn't confirm travel? Or is that those are just the seeded players that are qualified? They earn it.
No. The 4 players from the qualifiers that do travel. Like basically the leading 4 qualifies you straight for the main event, and you get travel.
Okay, it's just special phrasing for it, I guess. It's just a qualified players. They just call it leading four selection. Okay.
Look,
okay.
the format is a little complicated for this one.
So again, the qualifiers are available. So it's three events happening in the Americas. Crazy.
Basically,
back to back.
To reiterate on this. So this is like the online qualifier for Stellarfest, and the other event, I believe, the one that's happening on the first 2 days, it's kind of like an offline qualifier for Stellarfest. So basically,
we already spoke about that last week.
Yeah, but what I mean is like the 4 players who qualify here, they don't play on those first 2 days, basically.
Yeah, they go straight for the main event. They go straight to the main event. Meanwhile, up next, we do have our Team TLMC number 5. Here we go. So Team Liquid Map Contest has been running for a very long time, for many years. But in more recent years, we actually have had the Team Liquid Map Contest for team maps as well. And we recently did get our finalists. Voting, I believe, is soon to be, if not already, open. And we can quickly go over some of those maps. The tournaments for TLMC, the 2v2s, have already begun. Wardy did host them yesterday, and today he's hosting the 3v3 event as well. So the tournaments have begun to showcase some of these team game maps, and so you can be a little bit more informed when it comes to voting as well. So quickly heading on over, we have 15 finalists for the Team TLMC number 5. And you can see here that the awardee events will be running from the 16th of September to the 21st of September. 4 days. 4 days of non-stop TLMC action. I would recommend holding off on your voting until after those events conclude, so you can watch them, you can see some of those maps actually played out, and be a little bit more informed when it comes to being able to actually place your vote on which maps you prefer. Also, we already knew this, but this is just confirming once again that the ladder map pool, both 1v1 and team game, should be updated in November. In November, there's going to be a patch to actually bring together the new map pool. This is something that we've known for months at this point. We already knew this, but if you haven't been keeping up, if you have been watching the podcast, you might not be familiar. But yes, a new ladder map pool is coming up in November. We've already kind of ironed out the process of pushing together a map pool and pushing it live on the live servers, even with minimal Blizzard inputs, even if Blizzard don't actually patch the game or update the game. Like, the process of updating the ladder map pool is for the most part being standardized and is going to be happening on a regular basis. Of course, shout out to Wax Angel and shout out to those working on the TLMC and over at TL, just because they've been able to facilitate for this, and it's been a very smooth transition. You can honestly argue that this has been cleaner and smoother and better done than what ESL was doing, just because for the when ESL were pushing through map pools, it was once a year and it was a little bit irregular. Here we can push them through a little bit more regularly. We just had a map pool at the start of the year, and we're going to have another one here coming into November. So really cool to see that we're able to push this through on a regular basis. And we also know ahead of time when it's going to happen as well. So we have that kind of like security as a fan base and as viewers. Coming into this, going through the maps themselves, we do, again, 15. We have 15 finalists. Up first, we do have Rust Bucket by Patches. Oh, este Patches, papi. Ay, ay, ay. So it looks like, I'm not going to delve too much into the 2v2 maps just because we have been casting a lot of 2v2 recently, that's true, but at the same time, I'm a little bit unfamiliar with what is considered, good and bad, and what is meta, what is not meta, what we're looking for, what we're not looking for. In general, we typically do want shared bases, and you want to make sure that you can't isolate a player and isolate an opponent, just because you can kind of gang up on someone, and I feel like in general, we want to avoid that sort of thing in the 2v2 meta. But here, Rust Bucket is an interesting one. We do have a pocket base for one of the players. One player is randomly chosen, of course, randomly spawns in, and does have a free pocket expansion. Meanwhile, they do have shared, natural, and third base options. So we have a shared area here as the ramp, as we go up the ramp. So honestly, a pretty defendable location, and one player, it looks like, is going to be able to get three bases a lot easier than the other. So a little bit lopsided in that sense. We also have rocks to knock down on the right-hand side to take more secure expansions over towards the edge of the map as well. The center of the map looks relatively open. There's no crazy gold bases or any speed zones or any kind of quirky features like that. Looks like a relatively solid map. I say relatively solid. The expansions, you typically expand away from your opponents. The rush distance by ground looks relatively short between or from one side to the other. So bear that in mind. It does feel like, I mean, there are a lot of bases, true, but it doesn't feel like too much of an aggressive map, from at least what I can barely see. Like I haven't really. I don't really know too much about the meta of 2v2, but there is a little beach area, which is nice. There's like moopies having like a beach party, and that might just be worth the vote. True, that might just be it. Meanwhile, we have Purple Rain from Volumen. We just see standard 2v2 map with 10 bases per team. Players start with shared mains and shared naturals, the latter of which has two relatively easily walled off entrances. Third bases and other expansions are more open and require team play to defend. Interesting. Yep, shared main, shared natural. Here you're expanding towards your opponents, not away from them, for the most part, referring to like the center bases. As was said, the bases are a little bit more open, which invites for more aggression, which is not a bad thing. And of course, the shared main and shared natural make it easier to defend together and get into the mid game. This is kind of more of a standard setup and more of a standard map that I would expect. Rust Bucket was a little bit more unique in the sense that, it's a little bit. It's not like the same setup with both players. Oh, Killer Smile making another 2v2 map. New Bed of Chaos. That's quite a name. New Bed of Chaos is up next. You and your ally expand vertically along high ground terrain towards the opponents to take your third and fourth base. The more exposed 5 bases are on the low ground in between, where at 3 distinct points you can cross over to attack. Rocks at the natural entrance and near third base to help defend. Reaper access from low ground via Reaper jump cliff. Your fourth base are close by air to your opponents, creating a large front for attacks. Low ground bases are ambiguous, leading to conflict and in the mid game and late game. Interesting. Yep, shared main, shared natural. The third bases are relatively secure as well, to be honest. As you get into a fourth base and fifth base, that's when things get a little bit more spicy. But yeah, once again, it feels a little bit straightforward. Once again, looks like a bit of a shorter rush distance by ground map as well. Interesting. I can't zoom in. Ah, no. But yeah, we're getting a lot of regulars when it comes to map makers, I've noticed. We have Toha Industries. Jesus, we have a long description for this one. Toha Industries is a standard semi-fortress map. 2 semi-blocked natural entrances allow you to start a safe and stable game. Further expansions demand more attention and teamwork. Don't underestimate features that are in the center of the map: destructible cooling towers, slow zones, multiple high ground ramps. Up until this point, we haven't had any of these distinct features on the maps. They've been a little bit more bland, a little bit more standard. So interesting to see that come into play here. Slow zones, multiple high ground ramps awaits you for stirring maneuvers in action. Use them wisely. Shout out to Depressed One for creating a story here for laying the stage, setting the stage. The map has ramp setup similar to Emerald City. You have two natural entrances. They are very close to each other and half closed by debris. This is a very safe and stable design to start a standard game. After following entrances, you may have a choice: stay on the high ground or low ground. High ground third bases are closer to your opponent but safer than the low ground thirds. But low ground thirds have further expansions and they are away from your opponents, so you can get an idea of how to play the game. Another good thing about the map is you can spread creep without blocking an ally's paths, so it should be very clean on paper. Adapted space in between bases and rush distance from 1v1 will standardize this map for high level gameplay. Destructible cooling towers are the main feature of the map. You can use them as a cover for ambushes or a defensive factor to block or even crush an opponent's army. Interesting. Okay, that's a lot of towers. A lot of cooling towers, a lot of slow zones that do scatter the center of the map. It looks like there aren't really many... I was going to say there aren't really many like attack paths on the edge of the map, but there are two. There are two attack paths there that can be made use of. But in general, I always do appreciate maps like this that kind of transform and evolve as the game progresses. As you can create these choke points, knock it down, clear them up. Like the map does kind of like change over the course of the game, which is always a lot of fun for sure. Likewise, as it was stated, it is quite similar to Emerald City, actually, where one of your third bases is going to be already a lot more exposed. This should lead into more aggression and more action on the map, just because it is a little bit harder to set up on your third, at least for one of the players, maybe less so for the other. It's going to be more secure. Up next, Gem Garden by Avex. Okay. Wait, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Are we not voting? Is this just it? No, there is voting.
I think maybe that won't be like a full rotation, but some of the old maps will stay.
That would make sense. Hold on, does it say? I don't think, at least here in the description, it's not clear. But, I guess to be determined. But, when I read 15 maps, I was like, oh, right, I guess we're going to get 15 choices. We can choose between 15. But, no, it's 15 maps for everything. For 2v2, 3v3, and 4v4 included. So there's actually not that many options. Which is kind of crazy. So as you said, like, it's probably not going to be a full rotation. Yet to be determined how many maps we actually swap in and swap out. But I guess the final 2v2 map is Gem Garden, a rectangular 26 base map. Wait, excuse me? Say that again? Wait, what? With asymmetrical north and bottom halves to accompany larger macro games while maintaining a relatively safe rush distance for average games to still be played. Rock towers can assist in locking down oppressive movements on both the north and southern sides. The main bases additionally have two Zerg rocks that block off the northern side of the map, in addition to a mineral wall that blocks access to the southern ramp, while a large rock blocks the northernmost ramp. Outside the editor, the minimap has been adjusted to account for the low and mid-ground colors to be different enough for players to differentiate the levels. 26 bases. This... a little bit of criticism here for this TLMC. One, there's not a lot of options. Two, I'm not fond of the idea. This is the only example of a map like this. Like, I would like to see, like, maybe 3 options, right? 3 different options of macro maps. 3 different options of maps that 26 spaces. This reminds me a little bit of the previous TLMC with Last Fantasy, right? Last Fantasy got a lot of votes and made it through into the map pool. Why? Because it was the only 3-player spawn map. That was the only choice. I voted for it because I want 3-player spawn maps to come back, but there was only one option. So if it was a bad 3-player spawn map, then I mean that's all we got. If you want to push for that. Here it's similar in the sense that this is the macro map. It's the only one. Out of all the choices for 2v2, this is the only option you have. So if you want like a really cool, really big macro map in 2v2, there's only one choice. Compared to the others, of course, because the others have less bases. The rush distance by ground is shorter. So I'm not too fond of the idea of of this, right? Like, much love to Avex, of course, and the map is not bad by any means. It looks fun, it looks cool. I'll be honest, I'm probably going to vote for it. It would just be nice to have options, so you don't just kind of get locked in. It's kind of crazy. As we have a shared main base, shared natural, we span out from there, getting a third, fourth, fifth. Gee, there's so many expansions. It's crazy. You can knock down the towers in the center to force to elongate the game and to cut off attack paths as well. Like, as was said in the description, this map is meant to promote a lot of late game in 2v2, which I don't think is a bad thing. But yeah, it would just be nice if we had more options like this. Looks good though. Looks good. As that leads us into 3v3 maps. 3v3. Here we go. We have from Avex once again. We have Ball Peak. Ball Peak even. A diagonal 30 base. Let's go. It sounds so crazy hearing that, but I mean it's 3v3, so we need extra expansions, extra bases. A diagonal 30 base map with 2 separate expansion paths. The curved highway of high ground holds a strong center for dominant positional play, while the curving low ground alleyways offer various opportunities for alternative counterattacks. Here we go. We got a pocket expansion. We have we expand towards the opponent as well, which is always a good thing. I mean, for this, I would imagine. It's huge. Jesus. Are we gonna get more of these macro maps? Incognito by character. I feel like I've seen this map before. Am I crazy? Maybe character's been working on this for a while. There are two natural entrances players will need to be aware of. Indestructible Zanaga Tower reveals many line of sight blockers across the rush path. The 8-patch goal base can be built on location, but has mining obstructed by 1,500 HP conjoined debris. Many destructible rocks are spread across the center. Key features: 32 bases, 30 standard bases, and of course the 2 high yield bases, shared main and natural. Destructible Zanaga Tower, and of course the debris as well. Okay, Jesus. Shared main, yep, shared natural, goal bases, destructible towers in the center. Okay, let's go. Radiator rush style map by Depressed One. We're getting a lot of repeats here when it comes to map makers. Interesting. Radiator is a rush-style open map with a true island hybrid base. Okay, well, let's go. Bring him back. Yeah, the fair chance to survive and take it because the map is not big enough to sit and wait. Okay. You need to move and sweat even more because radiators are fuming hot air around you. Let's go. Did
this guy has so right,
Depressed One? Yeah, did he set that up last time? Yeah, he did. Yeah. So he's setting up the lore around the map. Yeah, just like last time. I appreciate it. Let's go. One player starts separately from the others, like in 1v1, but he shares one natural expansion area with everyone. In exchange, a player that is separated has easy access to the 3rd and 4th bases. Technically, you can take 4 bases in the line. The center of the map initially blocked by rocks. You need to move around and take advantage of the high ground ramps until you can. Cool. Tacit Sanctity? Okay. Tacit? By Killer Smile. On this map, every ally has their own starting base, but a joint natural expansion area. 3rd bases are easy to reach. The 4th bases are vertically towards the corners. Secure bases in the late game take control of the middle ridge. So I'm just having a look at Radiator. It's so hot. Let's go. I'm a little bit on the fence about Radiator just because one player is isolated from their teammates, but the player that's isolated actually has their base further back, so it's more defendable. So I do actually like that little way to balance things out in regards to one of the players coming into Tacit Sanctity. Here again, they do have their shared base, but they're much more spread out here, But once again, you have the player that's isolated further back, so very similar to the previous map. Well, the more exposed player or the more isolated player is further back and more defended, which is a really nice way to balance things out. Sleeping Giants. I'm pretty sure we have a map called Sleeping Giant already, right? In 1v1. Sleeping Giant is a semi-fortress but defensible map with a very dense arrangement of bases. You start strong and have a great choice to move together with allies, but you can be greedy and take a journey alone to the gold base. And don't wake up the giant and its sleeping guards. I like how you had to slip that one in at the very end.
Yeah, walk quietly.
Don't wake them up.
Do not wake them up.
Yes. Yes. The map has more defendable locations at the beginning. All 3 natural expansions are very close to each other. There are 2 natural entrances. One is the ramp that is far from opponents, and super close high ground entrance semi-closed by rocks. Vertical expansions are more dangerous, but you can get a gold base, while linear expansions are on high ground and pretty comfortable to defend. Around the gold base, there are collapsible rocks and side blockers. You can use them for ambush and protection. The center of the map is wide open and does not have any features to restrict maneuvers around the bases. Overall, the concept of the map was to create a slightly turtle design at the beginning. You have a straight way to take 3 bases, and generally speaking, it is a great map to demonstrate that Zerg players can spread the creep and don't bother allies. Okay. Cool. I mean, yeah, because of the expansion pattern with the 3rd bases, they are spread out. So I guess that's the hope, that a Zerg player spawns on one of the edges. But interesting. I don't know where the giants are. I'll be honest. I'm looking at the map and I can't find them. I don't know what he's on about. But sure. Found one?
On the bottom.
Where?
On the bottom left.
Oh, you mean the statue?
Yeah. I guess so.
Maybe. Okay. Well, I think that's the guard. Remember, it's like this. He mentioned there are guards for the sleeping giants.
I don't know. Let's look at.
Or maybe the guards are the smaller statues.
Maybe.
Okay.
Or maybe the giant is the size of a map and we're really missing something.
Yes, we should be playing on a giant.
There are games like that.
Then we have our 4v4 maps by Killer Smile. Once again, it's the same map makers for the most part. For 4v4, we have a Green Spill. We have Green Spill by Killer Smile. On this large 4v4 map, allies spawn on the same high ground behind 2 different sized ramps. One natural expansion is in the back corner, while the other 3 are placed against the cliff of the main base. The natural entrances are reinforced with debris. Taking 3rd bases requires taking a backwards base or expanding horizontally. Expanding vertically is more risky, but still possible, especially early on when the middle high ground are still obscured by the Zerg rocks. The high ground bases are out on the map are made easier to take with debris on their ramps, shielding them from big attacks. Let's have a look. Green Spill. God, I can't remember the last time I played 4v4. Oh my god. I don't think we've had. I think Wardy might start hosting those events again. If you remember Wardy last year, he was hosting some team game tournaments like 3v3, 4v4, and 2v2, even just outside of the TLMC. During the off season, I'm sure he'll be. I hope that he'll be doing that again. But interesting. We have Heaven Ward, not Heaven's Ward. Heaven Ward is a semi-fortress map with 2 semi-blocked front ramps and 1 open sideway with following high ground thirds. You have 1 pocket base and an additional base at your natural area. All the following expansions work mostly in a defensive way, paralleling through additional space and away from your opponent. So in general, this is a macro-oriented style map design with few rush opportunities. Oh, there's no flavor text this time. 2 watchtowers can help you hold high ground positions and control the space around the center of the map, but they can't reach the exact center of the map, so the path is in shadow from you. Okay. 2 high yield Vespian geysers bases are added for flavor in easily contested positions, with a couple of speed zones in combination with side blockers. Makes this certain region of the map funkier and more interesting to poke around. In late game scenarios, most of the time you'll rotate around watchtowers and high ground thirds. Interesting. Okay. I appreciate the aesthetic being a little bit brighter here. We're getting some darker tones. Up next, Netsphere Terminal, also by Depressed One. Give us the flavor text. Welcome to Netsphere Terminal, an open map with a low number of resources and a short rush distance. You have fair chances to get into the late game and fight against the safeguards. And who knows, maybe you will even find Sibo here. Sibo there. Who is Sibo? Kuro, do you know who this is?
I do not recognize any of these names, but I'm sure they all refer to each other.
Okay. This is primarily a map with a short rush distance and one wide open natural entrance that is up front. The other two entrances are not so important and dangerous. One of them is half closed by debris. The other is way far from your eyes. Okay. This is a little bit of an unusual design. You don't have lots of bases here. The main base builds around the idea that you're forced to move around. You have one big central high ground diagonal, which is the main artery of the map. It's like interesting verbiage. One ramp gives you the shortest path to the opponent's natural base. The other paths are not so strong, looking for initial aggression.
I have bad news for you. Right.
What's up?
I looked up the name and the images are very manga.
Are they very anime waifu?
A little bit. Looks like some kind of like science fiction manga series.
Oh, it's Blame. Yeah. I've read this a long time ago.
Yeah, so you should know what it is.
This is one of it's been a while. This is one of those manga series that was available on Humble Bundle. Humble they sometimes do like a full like collection of manga or full collection of like comics or something. And I remember I got like Wall of Blame.
I like some of the images there, so like they make me think of Alita a little bit.
This is a lot more
visually. Visually.
This is a little more dystopian, post-apocalyptic. Is what I will say. It's like, yeah, a lot more dystopian. But interesting. Okay, up next we have Iron Dragon, by Mavis. Team play map. Share fortress with your allies. Done. Additional resources are nearby. Further resources are further towards the outskirts. You have with some resources in the center of the map. Moss fire. Bases are arranged to allow for expanding as a team. Natural chokes can be walled. Yo, mate, is that we've seen? This is the one from last time, right? Timmy?
Maybe
he's the guy that made the map that both Yaku and I loved because it was like one line for description.
I think it might have been him. Yeah,
it is. Sure, yeah, it's the same. It's the same guy. It's the same guy. Yo, I'm voting for Mossfire. Let's go. It's like, hey, can you like give us a brief description on the map? It's like it's a map. You expand.
I like how even you look at the preview and there's like barely any like decoration on the map either.
Yeah.
It's a map.
It's pure utility. It's just utility. It's just a map for players.
Look, it's efficient.
Enjoy. just play the game. Just play it. Okay, let's go. Thank you, Tim. Thank you. Very quickly, voting is currently not open. So I did say that I advised until waiting for the tournaments to finish before voting, and apparently the voting will not open until the tournaments finish anyway. So I do recommend it. There's a chance that maybe, I mean, we'll see what happens with Euthermal. I know he's very dedicated to 2v2 and very devoted to it. Maybe I'll reach out, but I do think that it would be wise to host some tournaments before the end of the voting period to actually feature the 2v2 maps. I say 2v2 just because Euthermal's been specifically focusing on 2v2, but maybe you can showcase some of the other maps. But just to show them off even further, just have more data, just have more examples, more games to showcase them more and to have better decision making and a better idea of what you want and what you don't want in the map pool. So I would hope that someone rises up and does kind of like take that challenge and does show off some more of these maps. We do that for the 1v1 maps, but it would be nice if that was also done by someone as well for 2v2 or for the other team game maps in general, outside of just the official TLMC tournaments. Like, there's nothing stopping other people from running their events and for giving people like more examples and more data on how these maps pan out. So we'll see. We shall see. Otherwise, again, voting is going to be open after the 21st of September. That's going to be in a couple of days. And do check out Wardy's stream and Wardy's channel for the TLMC maps for the tournaments. As the first one did already conclude. Are we just going to go over that now?
Yes, yeah, I think that would be a good idea.
Okay, first one to conclude, we had the Wardy TV Team Liquid Map Contest 14 2v2 number 1. It's quite a mouthful. But this was featuring all the 2v2 maps. So you can see here, Gem Garden, New Bed of Chaos, Purple Rain, Rust Bucket, and Toha Industries. So those are the only 4 maps available here. We had our typical duos. We had Harsum and Lambo. They were the Shopify team. Oh, hold on, I'll just open the challenge. We had the Shopify team. We had Zardiant and Defmars. They're one of the stronger CIS region teams. We had Rex and Shin. Oh, that's an interesting duo. I've never seen them pair up before. Really fun to see them take part. We had Byun and Ryung. We have seen the double Terran in the past. Actually, I think last time it was Ryung and Gumiho, if not mistaken, but now we have Ryung and Byun. So once again, double Terran. I think we saw Byun and Percival last time, if I'm not mistaken. So for whatever reason, the Terrans, they like to work together here for from the Korean side of things. We had Prome and Honmono. Interesting pairing. Going up against Showtime and Spirit. Showtime and Spirits, I mean, they are the reigning champions. They are arguably one of, if not the best 2v2 pairings. I say one of because obviously Max Pax and Spirit, they are the best 2v2 pairing, but Showtime and Spirit, they're quite close. We had a Goblin and Euthermal, we had the homies, and we had a G Machine and Shameless. Ooh, and Goblin and Euthermal had a really rough portion of the brackets. Going up against Gigi Machine and Shameless up first, that is a brutal first round match that led into Showdown and Spirit, who again I do kind of rate as the favorites for the entire tournament. And in the end, they did win the events, but it went all the way to the ace match in the finals. Let's go. Harsum and Lambo, they were able to show off their 2v2 skills, and they did make a series out of it. Again, I was expecting Spirit and Showtime to have a more dominant showing, but they didn't. Went all the way to game 5. Great to see. So shout out to Harsum and Lambo. Congratulations to Showtime and Spirit. But I do highly recommend checking out the VODs, because the purpose of this is less so about the scores, less so about the series score lines, more so about what the maps look like and how games played out. So that is kind of more of what we're looking for here. Meanwhile, we also have the Wardy TV TLMC Map Contest 14 3v3 tournament, which is currently ongoing. 3v3 is a little bit less popular, and I'm hoping that we have a good amount of teams. Oh, we have that's a bit of a shame. There's only 4 teams. Which means only 3 series. If we were in this situation, I would be like, yo, let's just do round robin. But we just spoke about it, right? Unfortunately, 3v3 is less popular. For this event to only have 3 series is a bit of a shame. It is a bit of a shame here. And I do hope that for the 4v4 tournament, it's not just 2 teams. Oh god. Like, if it takes this much work and effort to bring together some teams for 3v3 and they only have 4 teams, but bearing in mind this is open signups, this is not an invitational, this is open signups, open to all people, and we only got 4 teams, so it doesn't bode well for the 4v4. But again, like, this is just really niche, right? Like 3v3, 4v4 is very, very niche, and I hope that if you're out there, if you can get some friends together, you can sign up and take part. And
yeah, I would also like to remind, I don't think there is a rank limit, so even if you're like not even a semi-pro, you can still play this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Like, there's no rank limit. It's open to all people, and I hope that you're willing to take part. Again, it's a lot of fun, and it's worth it just for testing purposes as well. If you think like, you're platinum or diamond, you don't think you're gonna have some good games. I mean, we're still gonna gain value from it by being able to see people play and compete and take part on these maps. It's all about testing the maps more than anything. So, yeah, a bit of a shame that signups were so low for this, and I hope that we get better signups for the 4v4. Otherwise, this is not like going to provide a good example of these maps. it's not ideal, as there's a chance that there are some maps that might never even be played. I say that thankfully the first series went all the way to game 5, so they got to see all the maps. But yeah, best of luck to Wardy. Best of luck to the team game tournaments. All right, I didn't even get to talk about it. Something that I should mention, of course, is the teams themselves. So who were our 4 teams? We had Byun, Ryung, and Shin. Okay, we had our Korean team. We have Harsem, Lambert, and Spirit. Oh, they got Spirit. They got Spirit. They got him in into the Shopify team. We had Milky Cow, Night Phoenix, and Wayne. I remember they were all fighting for each other to see who would be with Wayne previously, and they all just paired together. Love to see it. And then we had Cyril, Showtime, and Uwu Thermal. Where's Goblin? What's going on? Where's Goblin? Also, we just got some updates here. Showtime, Uthermal, and Cyril, they just took down Byun, Ryung, and Shin, so we have our finalists ready. So it's going to be an all EU finals. Best of luck to the remaining teams. Best of luck. That also leads us into the OSC SC2 Hall of Fame. We did just get this as Shameless. Shameless for competing in so many tournaments, for competing in 100 tournaments in 2025. He has joined the many other online competitors in the OSC Hall of Fame. Congratulations. Again, shout out to OSC. OSC, they host online tournaments and they partner with a lot of online tournaments as well. They're the biggest online tournament league out there, and which is why they do host, the mid-season playoffs and the championships as well. And it's really cool that they keep track of this sort of thing. Again, it's mainly like bragging rights sort of thing, but it's a nice way to like incentivize and promote and to showcase players for their dedication. So it's really cool to see that Shameless, he gets something for this. He gets a big shout out for being so active and for competing in so many tournaments. Again, Shameless, he plays in almost everything, and Shameless has been on the rise. For me, Shameless, he was the rising star of 2024. 2024, Shameless, he was like the up and coming player. He rose up very quickly through the pro scene, and he's still rising as well. He's a very young player, has a lot of potential, and has been improving quite consistently over the past 2 years. So big shout out to Shameless. Still 2.5 months. Yeah, he can keep going. He can. 200. Crazy. So shout out to Shameless. Shameless. That leads us into our tournament results. This week we have our modded tournaments. We had the Kung Fu Cup monthly number 1. Unfortunately, we were unable to cover any of this ourselves. Typically, we do cast Kung Fu Cups, but this was actually clashing with my SL, so it was clashing with our SL. There were other events going on, and we couldn't quite dedicate our time to covering this. This had a unique format as well. This isn't regular StarCraft Evolution. This is a format where if you win with a race, you cannot play that race any further. So if you go into the bracket, and if you actually click on these series, you can see the series scoreline just scattered with Protoss, with Zerg, with Terran, because there were non-stop switching races the entire series, the entire tournament. So this is almost like a random be random, almost kind of like there's obviously more strategy behind it because you pick which race to play. But yeah, this was crazy. It was crazy. In the end, Tasia, he was able to take down Rogue 2-1, able to take down Classic 3-2, took down Shin 4-3. Again, Tasia, he has really good Terran and Protoss. I would say his Zerg is his weakest matchup, and you can see that Tasia, he did rely on his Terran and Protoss to win that first series, and then they had a rematch. Shin, he also not looking too bad with his own Protoss. Shin, he won with Zerg and Protoss against Byun, and then in the grand finals, we had Tasia winning with his Terran and Protoss once again. Tasia did not win a single game with Zerg. God damn it. Not a single game, but again, purely Terran and Protoss, that's where Tasia does thrive. That is kind of what he's best at, so congratulations. We saw that Shin was able to dabble in a bit of Protoss and a bit of Terran as well, and of course his main race Zerg, but did fall to Tasia. Congratulations to Tasia for winning the event 4-3 in the grand finals. Very close, very clutch, went all the way to the ace match. A really unique format, kind of like a race, kind of like a non-stop like race switching going on. So a really unique format, really fun event. For those who are maybe unaware, Tasia, we've been casting him for a long time. I say for a long time, for like almost 3 months. Tasia has been active, he's been competing, he's been playing. Even he has been active in SC2 tournaments as well, not just StarCraft Evolution. So Tasia has been back for quite some time. If you haven't seen his games, I do recommend checking out our YouTube channel for the VODs. Check out the VODs. Otherwise, congratulations to Tasia. That leads us into the Chijik Murloc Cup 1v1, StarCraft 1 versus SC2. This is a big StarCraft Evolution tournament. This is a more standard format, and I was really curious to see how Lambert would perform. We've been slowly updating this. This tournament took a long time to conclude. It was like a week-long event. if not more than that. But Lambo was surprising me. Lambo, he doesn't compete in StarCraft Evolution. Despite that, Lambo, he took down Rogue, took down Gumiho, went to the ace match against Classic. Like, again, Classic, he is the best Protoss player in StarCraft Evolution. So for Lambert to bring him to the ace match is insanely impressive, especially considering he's not really active in the SC Evo scene. Lambert then takes down Rogue 3-2. Lambert takes down Solar 3-1. Lambert does end up falling to Cure. Cure, he does bring him down. He does shut him down 3-0. And then Cure versus Classic went all the way to the ace match. And I'm really impressed just because Cure didn't really look that impressive to me in the StarCraft Evolution Championship. In SCL, the big SC Evo event, Cure, he was looking a little bit lackluster, not gonna lie. Like he was looking like he was freestyling a lot. He wasn't really too familiar with StarCraft Evolution, and this was a couple of weeks ago. So for him to go to the ace match against Classic is impressive. Very, very impressive play there. Shout out to Cure for performing as well as he did. Congratulations. But of course, Classic did win the entire event. In my mind, he was coming in as the heavy favorite to win the tournament, but it was not an easy road. Again, Lambo almost took him down, and Cure almost took him down. So really cool to see that competitive spirit and to see some closer series here, as I just assumed it was going to be a little bit one-sided. I assumed it was going to be more one-sided. It wasn't. So really cool to see. Shout out to the other competitors, and congratulations to Classic. Congratulations, as he does walk away as the winner. When it comes to English broadcasting, I believe there was none. Unfortunately, because this event is sponsored by Chijik, for those, I should wind it back a little bit. Chijik is a Korean streaming platform. Think of like Africa TV, think of Twitch, think of YouTube, right? It's one of these platforms, but for the Korean scene and for Koreans. We have streamed from it before, but for the most part, there's no real English viewer base on Chijik. It's mainly Korean, and because the event is sponsored by the platform itself, if you want to cast this, if you want to stream this, if you want to cover this event, it needs to be on Chijik. So unfortunately, like there was no no English coverage. There was no English representation for covering the event. Technically, we could have tried to have casted it and then uploaded VODs to YouTube, but we were busy covering other events, right? Like our schedule, right? We always point it out, but we cast more StarCraft than anyone else out there. Our schedule's so full, we don't have room to put other things in. So it's unfortunately we just don't have the room for it. Maybe next time, maybe. But congratulations to Classic nonetheless. That leads us into the patches, patch clash number.
Before we move on, I just want to point out that for those interested in StarCraft Evolution, there's currently a PTR going on, and there are some tournaments announced. So if you want to take part in testing the new changes to StarCraft Evolution, then check out their Discord and their challenge and their socials, because there are some tournaments coming up.
Yeah, there are some signups. Signups are available. We'll be getting into that later on in the broadcast, so you can check them out. Meanwhile, we have Patches. The Patches Patch Clash number 5. For those that are curious, Patches, we saw some of his maps featured earlier, as he is a map maker. On top of that, he has made his own mod, his own balance mod as well, and has been running tournaments to actually test changes to test his mod in a competitive setting. So this is the 5th edition, and here we do have GG Machine. He was able to take down Inexorable, Papi, Mixu, and Mixu in the finals as well. Was looking very dominant until that final series where we had a back and forth between GG Machine and Mixu. Again, the changes that Patches has brought to the game are crazy. They're insane, baby. There's some insane upgrades, like one supply roaches and more speed upgrades. Like just in general, just a lot of upgrades were added to the game. A lot of mid to late game upgrades. I know there was a Zealot upgrade, a Zealot change where Zealots can actually charge to a location. They don't have to charge to a unit or to a selected item. They can just charge to the ground essentially. So changes like that were made. I believe there was a Blink range upgrade as well. Sorry, a Stalker range upgrade I meant to say as well, and all these other crazy changes. Like it's very chaotic. It's maybe not the most balanced mod, but from my understanding, it's more of a sandbox. Like it's more meant to like test out a bunch of different changes, not meant to be taken too seriously. But regardless, congratulations to GG Machine for claiming the win, and I'm hoping that Patches is able to gain some insight in regards to his mod and make some adjustments and balance it over time. That then leads us into our amateur events. So this week we have the Amateur League Monthly number 44. Okay, I believe we just had like our seasonal event, but here we do have our monthly. Okay, here we go. With this monthly tournament, we do have our initial Initiate series. This is for those between the leagues of Bronze and Platinum. Here we even had some of our regulars. We had Surikato, we had Tebs, we had Doris, and we had Jackals. Okay, usually we're used to seeing Ragnar here, but no, not this time. And some players that I'm not really familiar with here. We had Doris. Doris actually able to claim the win. Did fall to Surikato initially, but got a win in the rematch. Went 3-2 in the finals. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations to Doris. Does claim the win. That leads us into the Veteran Edition. This is for Diamond 3 and Diamond 2 players. Here we have, hey, there are regulars. I do see Pretty Fly. I do see Old Lady, who's a regular in these tournaments. Colt Classic and Battle Beast. We had 4 players in total. In the end, we saw Pretty Fly take down Battle Beast 2-1. But once again, the rematch, Battle Beast won. That happened twice now. That happened in the previous tournament. That happened here as well, where initially the player to be knocked down to the lower bracket in the rematch does win the rematch. So congratulations to Battle Beast for taking down Pretty Fly 3-1. Congratulations. That leads us into the Prestige tournament. This is for those that are between the leagues of Diamond 1 and Masters 2. Here, once again, signups have been a little bit lower. I did notice that. Signups have been lower for all 3 of these tournaments than we're used to seeing. Here we had Milka, we had Matrix, we had Steez, we had Wiseman, and Dead Remus as well, players that we're very familiar with. We had Matrix. Matrix or Matrix did take down Milka 2-0, did take down Wiseman 2-0, and did win against Wiseman 3-0. This time there was no comeback from the lower bracket. This time Matrix looking very dominant here, able to claim the win. Congratulations. Congratulations. Is the Elite Edition, and here we did actually have a series. For a lot of these tournaments, we actually have not seen enough signups to actually have a series, but here we had Qingming up against Front Stab, and Qingming did win 3-0. Unfortunately, signups are they're not really too popular when it comes to the Elite Edition, just because pro players would rather play in tournaments that actually provide prize money, so they don't spend a lot of time in the Amateur League. But regardless, congratulations to Qingming. Congratulations. With that leads us into the Devoid Monthlies. These are more amateur tournaments, also restricted, also spread out by races, also by leagues, I should emphasize. Unfortunately, it looks like for the first edition we did have non-stop walkover, so Crimpus does get the walkover win with the Bronze 3 to Platinum 1. It looks like they're a little bit more specific with their delineations. Interesting. Next up we have Diamond 3 to Diamond 2. This was a little bit more popular here. We had Diego, papi. We had Sugar Colt, we had Smith Steel, and we had Alaska as well. In the end, Diegos did win 3-1 over Smith Steel. Congratulations to Diego. That leads us into the Prestige tournaments, which is Diamond 1 to Masters 2. Interesting range. Here at a lot of our regulars. There's Milka, there's Matrix, there's Dizzy Dwarf, Defiance, Beast as well, Anatar, a lot of regulars that we do recognize. In the end, Matrix, he won the previous, or the Amateur League Weekly. Here he wins the Devoid Monthly as well. Matrix takes down Anatar, Dizzy Dwarf, Milka, and Mo as well, coming back from the lower bracket. So congratulations to Matrix for winning two Prestige tournaments. Congratulations this month. Crazy.
As a note, I believe they have the same limits as the Amateur League tournament, and they are also giving points for that league. So it's like the second sister tournament to the Amateur League.
Okay. Interesting. So they're partnered in some way. So really cool to see them working together, and and hopefully building up together as well. With that, congratulations to Matrix. That leads us into the regional show matches and show matches as well. We did have Ukrainian fights. Okay, we had a tournament here for Ukrainian players. This is organized by Hacker is Top and by Minizerg. These are notable Ukrainian semi-pro players. And were they competing in this tournament? They were. Okay, they were competing in the event. Coming into this, when it comes to the Ukrainian scene and the Ukrainian region, I do rate Knifings very highly. And Knifings, he comes in as the heavy hitter. Kaz returns. Papa Kaz Kaz. Okay, it's been a while since we've seen him here. Hold on, I want to open up the bracket. Was Demaga here? Hold on. Este Kaz. I know that Demaga, he shows up every now and then. Not for this tournament, though. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. So, no Demaga, but Kaz did make his return. Again, it's been a long time since I've seen Kaz in a tournament. Always love covering him. Always love casting him whenever we can. But it's been like a year, maybe more, since we've seen him in like regular tournaments. So Night Phoenix does take down Sunset, does take down Jedos, does take down Gunner, and takes down Gunner again. Gunner beat Kaz. That's impressive. Like, when I look at these players, in my mind, I rate Mini Zerg, Michnek. There are some like GMs here that I rated a little bit higher than Gunner, but maybe I'm not giving enough respect to Gunner. I remember casting Gunner back when he was competing in MSO in our amateur tournaments. Yeah, I guess he's grown to the point where he can even beat Kaz. Impressive. And Mini Zerg as well, true. So shout out to Gunner for making it all the way to the finals. Does fall to Night Phoenix. Again, Night Phoenix, he's the best player in Ukraine at the moment, like 100%. He's the highest rated player, and he's definitely the best of the best when it comes to Ukrainians. And with that, he does not lose a single map. Doesn't drop a map. I kind of feel a little bit robbed. I would have loved to have seen Night Phoenix versus Kaz. Like, I would have loved to have seen it. Maybe would have posed the bigger threats. Maybe, but regardless.
It would be like the old school versus the new school.
Yeah, the Kaz is like 4 Night Phoenixes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, he can probably be his like father and maybe more.
He would be his grandfather, 100%. He would. Hi. Night Phoenix is a baby. But with that, congratulations to Night Phoenix for claiming the win. That leads us into the Legacy Weekly Japan number 471. This is our regular weekly open tournament for the Japanese region, and I believe is that Tapioca once again. I need to just start remembering the Japanese characters. Yeah, Tapioca. So Tapioca does win 2-0 over Kaiman, 2-0 over Psyarch, and 2-1 over Deadly Kitten. Again, Tapioca has been the recent rising star amongst the Japanese players and has been winning a lot of these weeklies. I said it before, I said it again. I do want to see some more Tapioca outside of these regional weeklies. One day, papi, one day. Congratulations to Tapioca. Congrats for another win. That leads us into the Sunrise Cup. Sunrise Cup number 216. This is a weekly tournament for the Chinese region, for the Chinese player base. And we do have our champion here. This week it was... Is this a deer? Is this... Tsukino? Hold on. Translate. No, this is... Oh, Nanyu, of course. God, every time. Nanyu has actually been a regular champion for these weekly tournaments. So Nanyu does take the win over Daydreamer, over Ghost Runner, and over his opponents in the grand finals as well. So very impressive play. That was Millennium Fox. We've covered them before. So congratulations to Nanyu. Nanyu has been a rising star amongst the Chinese player base when it comes to Zerg players. He's like rising through the ranks slowly but surely. I still do rate players like Silky above Nanyu. I know that Silky is not very active at the moment, but still do rate him above. But Nanyu has been slowly improving over time, and has been winning a lot of these weekly tournaments. So congratulations to Nanyu. As that leads us into the OSC events for the week, and that leads us into the OSC mid-season playoffs. We did, of course, cover day 3, I believe, of the mid-season playoffs, and we have a lot of updates. I think we even had a day 4 as well. We had Kyor. Kyor took down Nickrak 2-0 to advance on to the quarterfinals. We had Percival over... Spirit played Protoss? Oh no, este Piotr. Ay. Spirit, he off races Protoss against Percival, did not go his way. Have we lost Spirit to Protoss? Has he fallen prey? Is he conch? Smurge, pappy Smurge. That might be we'll see. It's possible that Spirit, he might be playing Protoss specifically against Terran. We'll see if this leads to something more. But this is the first sign. The first sign that I'm seeing of Spirit competing as Protoss.
Do you think Spirit is like, if Clem can do it, I can do it? And then it turns out it's not so easy?
I think it's more like I, I think that's maybe part of it a little bit. I think he might just be done with TBT, which is understandable. It's understandable. So we'll see if this trend continues. We'll see. Meanwhile, we have Max Pax versus Ryung. Maybe they're still yet to play out their matches. Geralt takes down Cham 2-0. Björn takes down Jimmy 2-0 as well. Solar takes down Goblin. Shout out to Goblin. Godlin even taking a map off of Solar. Very impressive. And again, this tournament takes a long time to progress. There's a lot of matches, a lot of series ahead of us. It'll take a long time to work through this, and best of luck to all the remaining players. Again, we've got some big names facing off. Cure, Solar, Percival, Max Pax, Björn, Geralt, Ryung, Harstem. A lot of big names. Make sure to tune in for some more updates. We've been covering some of these matches. I know that Steadfast has been covering some matches as well. Typically, we do bring in some other OSC casters or other community casters. So don't be surprised to see like Wardy Casaday or Chicken Man or Dave Testa, or some of the other community casters out there as well. So again, do expect this to kind of alternate between the casters, between coverage. GG. GG, well played. That led us into the OSC King of the Hill, number 225. This is a weekly King of the Hill style tournament. Basically, winner stays on. Winner stays on, loser is eliminated. A really fun style tournament that's honestly isn't really popular. Like, there aren't many other events that have this format. So really unique in that sense. This is a weekly that's been running for a long time, always a lot of fun, and that's a lot of Protoss and some Terran as well. As Nickrak takes down Knife Inks 1-0. Cristiano goes on a win streak, takes down Nickrak, takes down Percival, takes down Hon Mono, takes down Pappy, and eventually falls to Shameless. Shameless, of course, he was recently crowned or recently introduced to the Hall of Fame of OSC. As Shameless, he has been on the rise, does stop Cristiano's win streak. Shameless goes on his own win streak, but only for a couple of games. Takes down Cristiano, takes down Sebestis, but does fall to Moja. And Moja, oh my god, he actually takes down some big names. Takes down Shameless. I would favor Shameless there, so big win there for Moja. Creator, I also favor Creator there, big win for Moja. Jimmy, I also favor Jimmy there, so big win for Moja. And then Art stops him. I would have favored Moja, actually. So, crazy turn of events there. I would have loved to have seen those games. Honestly, in my eyes, Moja is a very cheesy player. He's very cheesy, and I would not be surprised if he all-in the hell out of Creator, Jimmy, and Shameless. And after all-inning 3 games in a row, Art caught on. In my mind, that's kind of like the story that was weaved there. But yeah, in the end, Art did shut him down. Art goes on a decent win streak himself, takes down UD Soldier, takes down GG Machine, takes down MidoVK, and in the end, out of all players, Inexorable. A player that I have not seen in OSC King of the Hill before. Inexorable, he is not a regular. He becomes this week's King of the Hill. Congratulations. Congratulations to Inexorable as he takes down Art. Very impressive, very well played. And shout out to all the champions this week. We had Moja taking maps, we had Art, we had Inexorable, of course, we had Shameless, and Cristiano, and Nickrak as well. Unfortunately, there wasn't really much Zerg representation. I mean, there rarely is. Shout out to GG Machine. He was able to compete, but only for that one match. GG. GG, well played. That leads us into the Open Cups, and there were a lot of Open Cups this week. There was a lot going on, a lot to cover. And let us begin from the top, from Galaxy Open. We had the Galaxy Open season number 2. This is a tournament run by Choi Galaxy, of course. This was an Open Cup, and we were able to cover this and broadcast this live over on our own channel. Here, this was actually clashing with another event, which is why a lot of the big names did not sign up for this. The event was clashing. So in the end, we had Geralt. Geralt took down Feint 2-0, Nickrak 2-0, and we had an intense back and forth grand finals between Geralt and Percival. Went all the way to the ace match. Congratulations to Geralt, as he does claim the win over Percival. GG. GG, well played. And again, typically we have players like Björn, like Hero, like Classic competing in this tournament. But again, this event did clash with another, and the other Koreans were otherwise busy. I think it might have even clashed with the Chijik event, if I'm not mistaken. So a lot of players that were competing in other tournaments. That leads us into the Wardy TV Monday. Wardy TV Monday number 51. Speaking of Cure and Hero and Classic and all these others, here we had Hero. Hero took down Homono 2-1, took down Max Packs 2-1 as well, and took down Hero to become this week's champion. When it comes to these weeklies, Max Packs, he has been reinventing himself in PvP, and he has been having a lot more success. Despite that, Hero still does take the win over Max Packs. Meanwhile, shout out to Solar, was able to force Cure to the ace match, but did still go down. And Cure was able to make a series out of those finals, but in the end, it did still fall to Hero. So congratulations to Hero, as he does claim his first weekly win of this week. That leads us into the Monday Night Weeklies. Speaking of Hero, he does make it quite far in this tournament. We had Hero staying up. He did take down Shameless 2-0, took down Hearthstone 2-0, did fall to Max Pax in the rematch, so they have a back and forth. Hero did beat Max Pax in Wardy TV Monday, but in the Monday Night Weekly, Max Pax takes down Hero, and Max Pax wins in the rematch as well in the finals 3-2. Went all the way to the ace match, but Max Pax does get his revenge. Now, once again, I believe this event was clashing with another because we're missing a lot of players. We're missing Solar, we're missing Björn, we're missing Classic, we're missing Cure. Surprising amount of Koreans were not a part of this, but again, I'm pretty sure this was clashing with another tournament. There's just been a lot of StarCraft going on. A lot of StarCraft, a lot of Open Cups, Chijik events, like there's just been a lot happening, and it has impacted and influenced some of these open signups. But in the end, Hero does come second, and Max Pax claims the win. That leads us into the Sparkling Tuna Cup. Speaking of events clashing, events did also clash with this as well. I believe this was clashing with the Wardy, I think it was the 2v2 event, right? I think it was the 2v2 tournament this was clashing with, which is why we were missing Björn, for example, and missing a couple of others. But here we did have a Solar. He was able to take down Akedon. Right, we're missing Hero and Björn. That's it. And Shin. But Solar took down Akedon 2-0. Solar took down Nickrank 2-0. And Solar, he just 2-0'd his way to becoming this week's Tuna Cup champion. Again, the players did agree to have a best of 3 instead of a best of 5. That's why it's a 2-0, not a 3-0. And again, the players did agree on this just because Solo was not available to, or he had something coming up and he didn't have a lot of time, and Creator agreed as well. We were happy to do so, just happy to do so. And again, Solar, he does walk away unscathed. Very impressive play. Creator, he fought hard to make it to the finals. He has to take down Nightmare 2-0. Was not easy. That was a really intense series, by the way. But Solar does take the win in the end. And of course, was covered by ourselves here on the CranKy Ducklings. Monday Night Weekly, of course, organized by TKL, by the French community. That leads us into this week's Pegasus Cup. We were not able to cover this event. We were scheduled to, but we were unavailable at the time. So in the end, this was covered by, I believe, Steadfast, Dave Testa, and Bon Mioja did cover the event instead. I also forgot to mention, but Pig he's still in Europe. He's in Manchester. A lot of people traveled for Wardy's wedding, of course, and Pig was a part of that. That's why Pig was not casting this, but Pig was covering other events instead, like Maestros of the Game and like Little League Cup. So Pig was covering other events. Not this one, of course, as not the best time for Europeans, but here we had Hero. Hero takes down Epic, takes down Creator. Oh, Creator took down Trigger to make it to the semis. Not bad at all. But Hero does claim the win over Creator, and Hero gets a dominant win over Björn 3-0. Again, Hero, he typically comes in as the winner of these events. Björn was able to pose somewhat of a threat and did take down Solar in the semis. Really, really impressive win there by Björn, but does fall to Hero, and Hero claims his second win of the week. Second weekly. That leads us into Little League Cup number 6. Speaking of Hero, god damn it. Hero, he takes down Lelix, takes down Percival. Lelix did take a map, true. Hero takes down Classic in the semis, and Hero gets the win over Solar 3-1. A shout out to Solar though, because he gets his revenge over Björn. So Solar this time does beat Björn 2-0. And Solar took down Max Pax in the semis. Very impressive play there by Solar. If you're curious, a lot of all-ins. A lot of all-ins out of Solar. He just had hyper-aggressive builds, and Hero was able to beat him to that aggression in the finals. So it was a really dominant showing out of Hero. Max Pax had a harder time against Solar, as Max Pax plays a little bit more standard, and Solar was able to get into his all-ins, but not against Hero, as Hero claims his third win. His third win this week. Aye. Congratulations to Hero. As that leads us into the main events from the week. The Open Cups did wrap up, but here we have Maestros of the Game. This is the big event that's going to be happening in France, in Paris. We did cover the event ourselves here alongside many other people out there were covering the events. Pig was covering some of the days. Rotterdam, Steadfast, Wardy, a lot of coverage on this tournament, and we just wrapped up the online portion. Remember, the preliminary stage, the group stage, the early rounds of the playoffs, all were online. Up next, here moving forward, the top 4 offline. Offline portion is going to be in a week's time. September 28th, so around just over a week's time, is going to be the offline finals.
In Europe. Important note, it's 27th in Europe. It's on the Saturday.
Oh, there you go. So 27th in Europe, 28th for us here in Australia. But yes, we did have some big results coming in. We had Clem, and Clem takes down Classic 3-1 to advance on to the upper bracket finals. Raider took down Serral 3-0 as well. If you weren't here for that series, it's a surprising result if you were unaware as to what was happening. Serral, he was lagging out quite a bit. Serral, he was on vacation. He was in a cabin in the woods over in Finland. And Serral, he was competing on his mobile internet. And he was lagging quite a bit. I don't want to take away too much from Rainer, of course. It was still a really intense series. But Serral, he was definitely suffering from the fact that he was playing with his phone internet and he was playing from a suboptimal setting. Despite that, he was still able to defeat Hero 4-2. True, did defeat him 4-2, and Hero, he was able to barely take down Zound 4-3. That was a chaotic PvP, by the way. There were cannon rushes, cheeses, all-ins, really intense lower bracket quarterfinals. You might be looking at this and might be thinking, hold up, this doesn't add up. Hero, he went down to Serral, but he beat Zound. How does that work? Classic forfeited. Classic was meant to be playing against Zound, but Classic, he did notify everyone that Classic, he had a medical issue, and Classic was not able to travel for the event. So Classic forfeited, and that gave Hero a second life and a second chance. So Hero, he will be a part of the event, and he can thank Classic for that one. So we have our top 4, Clem, Rainer, Serral, and Hero. We have 2 Zergs, 1 Protoss, and 1 Terran. And they're all going to be traveling to that offline event.
So we also mentioned how that Hero versus Zound series happened with Zound, being like 4 a.m. or something, and Zound was like, "No, I'm dead. I'm not gonna play." And he was like, "No, you can play." And he convinced him to play.
Yeah, in general, the schedule for this event was really, really rough for the Koreans. So they were all very fatigued. The group stage, the playoffs. I think they did change it for the playoffs. They did start it a little bit earlier, thankfully. But I don't think this event was scheduled too well for the Koreans in mind, as they were often playing at like 3, 4, 5, 6 a.m. in the morning. And yeah, Zound, he was very, very drained by the time they had to play their series. And as Kura mentioned, Zound, he was willing to forfeit, by the way. He was like, I'm done. But here he talked him into it. Here he was like, no, like he talked him into competing, into playing, and they were bantering a lot. And despite that, the two of them, they went the distance. Like, it was a really strong start for Zound. Zound, he almost forward. Straight up. He was up 3-0. Like, Zound, he almost forward. And then Hero, he pulled off the reverse sweep, winning 4 games in a row. A reverse sweep in a best of 7 is a rare sight. So congratulations to Hero for coming out on top. And we have our top 4. And again, that's going to be played out in just over a week's time. Just over a week's time will be the remainder of this event. To look forward to it, as we're going to be covering it here on our channel. Meanwhile, that leads us into RSL, which we were just casting. We were just casting the RSL earlier today. The playoff bracket has been playing out, and we did have some crazy results. I will say that so far in the playoffs, we've had a lot of one-sided series, right? We had Cure 3-0 over Shin. It was really fast. Really quick, really fast. We had Classic 3-0 over Trigger. We had Maru 3-1 over Björn. Some really fast matches. Zound versus Rainer was memorable, but it was also really fast as well. It was Zound just going for non-stop all-ins. Like, non-stop all-ins, non-stop aggression out of Rainer. And Rainer did crumble under the pressure. Zound did shut him down. I will say that Zound was very prepared for that series, and it was very impressive. Zound took down Cure 3-1 as well. Also really impressive play there. I was favoring Cure coming into that series, but Zound did pop off. And then we had Classic 3-0 over Maru. Now the fast series, one-sided. Classic looking very dominant there. And we have the upper bracket finals ready. Zound versus Classic. And again, Zound causing a lot of upsets. I think a lot of people, myself included, would have favored Reigner and Kira versus Zaun. So really impressive play there out of our Korean Protoss player. Scrolling down, we just wrapped up with these matches earlier. We had Reigner taking down Shin 3-0, another fast series. Trigger took down Beyond 3-1. Also another fast series. We had Reigner take down Maru 3-2. Very intense, very close, very clutch back and forth with a lot of mech and a lot of diverse play from Maru. Was a really interesting series, what I will say. Then we had Cure versus Trigger 3-1 for Cure. So we have our top four. We have Zaun, Classic, Reigner, and Cure. Classic, he may not be able to travel for most of the game, but this event is online. RSL is online, so Classic is able to compete in this tournament without any issue, without having to travel. So with that, he's here to compete, and I'll be honest, Classic is favored to win the entire tournament. It's 100%. He's favored over Zaun, over Reigner, and over Cure as well. We'll see if anyone can stop him. I do think that Zaun has a good chance. Like, hey, we saw him look decently strong against Hero. I want to believe he can look good against Classic as well. So best of luck to all the players. Best of luck to everyone involved. And that is going to be us caught up with all the events this week. Again, a lot of open cups. We have Maestro still looking to conclude. I should also mention RSL tomorrow is going to be back, right? 3 more days. We have 3 more days this week of RSL to crown our champion. When it comes to predictions, I mean, hey, I just said it. I do favor Reigner over Cure. I favor Classic over Zaun, and I favor Classic over Reigner as well. I look forward to the Reigner versus Zaun rematch. I think it'd be a lot of fun. It could go either way, to be honest, but I look forward to that rematch in this tournament. But in my eyes, it's all about who can stop Classic. Best of luck. Best of luck to all the other players. And if you want to take part in some of these tournaments, not in the RSL, not in Masters, but if you want to take part in the open qualifiers and the open cups, then sign up list. Sign up list in the chats. There is a sign up list that is manually updated on a regular basis, and all the events are there. You can see the signups for the Wardy 4v4 tournament, for KSL, Sunrise Cup, the Patches Patch Clash, Platinum League September, and many, many other tournaments. The Amateur League events are there as well. All the signups are there. We have a countdown timer. We have important links, of course, to the Discords, to the events, to the signups themselves. So it's all there on the signup list. Do check it out as it is updated on a regular basis. It is updated. Shout out to Kuro, shout out to Kashim, shout out to all those that do update the sign-up list. Meanwhile, if you want to support us here on the CranKy Ducklings, then Patreon is the place to be. !Patreon in the chat, and you'll get a link to our Patreon page. Again, our Patreon is designed to fund our tournaments. 100% of the money on Patreon goes towards our events. We are getting ready for our next stretch goal, as I believe the next goal should be to finally pay out casters and pay out admins for the work that we do for the tournaments. So again, thank you so much for all the support. Our Patreon has grown so much over the past year. Thank you. Thank you so much for the support on Patreon. It does help us a lot, and the players appreciate it as well. Remember, this month is a special month for us here on the CranKy Ducklings because we actually have a monthly finals. Crazy, Bobby, crazy. We have a monthly finals for the Tuna Cups. Look forward to that around the corner. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for tuning in. A bit of a shorter podcast here as they had a lot to get through, but we got to get ready for what's to come. What's next here for the CranKy Ducklings? The RSL. RSL is going to be tomorrow. Over the weekend, we have the KSL as well, the Korean StarCraft League. When it comes to major events that are going to be covered, of course, Masters of the Game, more Revival StarCraft League, a lot of content, a lot of StarCraft on the horizon. Remember, if you're out there, if you're a part of the Americas region, then there's 3 offline events happening in the Americas, and we didn't even get to talk about the SC2 Safe House. True, SC2 Safe House is also happening in the Americas. There's no audience section of that, but still, content in StarCraft in the Americas, there's a lot of it coming up towards the end of the year.
Speaking of Safe House, a quick reminder that I believe on the beginning of October there will be qualifiers for Safe House as well, which are open to American players, and by American I mean both North and South America.
Americas.
Yeah,
yes,
Americas,
it's the Americas.
players.
Yes, so do check that out. Again, we'll do our best to potentially even cast those qualifiers as well, potentially. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. We do appreciate it, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for the RSL. See you then.